Have you ever wondered about the state of the US economy in comparison to other major economies around the globe? If so, you're in the right place. Today we're diving into this vast, complex, and incredibly influential entity known as the US economy. Let's start with a bird's eye view. The US economy, in simple terms, is colossal. It's the largest in the world, with a GDP that sits around $22 trillion. That's about a quarter of the globe's total economic output. For some perspective, that's like comparing the size of a whale to a school of fish. But it's not just about size. The US economy is also a global powerhouse. It's a hub of innovation and technological advancement, a leader in sectors like finance, healthcare, and entertainment. It's home to some of the world's most influential companies, from tech giants like Apple and Google to financial behemoths like JP Chase and Goldman Sachs. The influence of the US economy extends beyond its borders, largely due to the role of the US dollar. The greenback is the world's primary reserve currency, used by governments and institutions around the globe to maintain their foreign exchange reserves. This gives the US a significant advantage in international trade. It can borrow money at lower costs, import goods more cheaply, and exert influence over other economies, all because transactions are typically conducted in dollars. But with great power comes great responsibility. The health of the US economy has far-reaching implications. When it thrives, markets worldwide often follow suit. But when it stumbles, the ripple effects can be felt across the globe. So in essence, the US economy is a leviathan, a juggernaut of economic activity that not only powers the American dream, but also plays a significant role in the global economic landscape. It's a fascinating, multifaceted entity, one that warrants a closer look. And that's exactly what we're going to do. This brings us to our next point. How does the US economy stack up against other major economies? So, how does the US economy compare to the economies of China, Europe, and Japan? When we look at the gross domestic product, the United States, with its massive economy, is still sitting at the top. However, it's important to note that China is fast catching up, with its GDP growing at a rapid pace. Europe, on the other hand, while being a major economic powerhouse, has been grappling with slower growth rates in recent years. Japan, despite having the third largest economy in the world, has been battling persistent deflation and low growth. In terms of trade balance, the United States has been dealing with substantial trade deficits, particularly with China. China, with its export-oriented economy, enjoys a significant trade surplus. Both Europe and Japan also have a positive trade balance, albeit smaller than China's. Now, let's talk about unemployment rates. The United States has traditionally had lower unemployment rates compared to Europe, largely due to its flexible labor market. However, it's worth noting that Japan has the lowest unemployment rate among these economies, thanks to its unique labor market structure. When it comes to economic strengths, the US is renowned for its technological innovation, entrepreneurial spirit, and its massive consumer market. China's strengths lie in its massive manufacturing sector and large labor force. Europe is known for its high standard of living and strong social security systems. Japan, meanwhile, is lauded for its technological prowess and high-quality manufacturing. On the flip side, each of these economies has its own set of challenges. The US struggles with income inequality and a high national debt. China grapples with an aging population and environmental issues. Europe has to deal with political uncertainties and an aging population, while Japan is battling a declining population and high public debt. In essence, each of these economies, the United States, China, Europe, and Japan, has its own unique strengths and weaknesses. And while they may compete on many fronts, they are also deeply interconnected. With this global perspective in mind, let's delve deeper into the strengths of the US economy. What are the key strengths that keep the US economy ticking? Let's dive right in. One of the primary strengths of the US economy is its unparalleled capacity for technological innovation. The United States is home to some of the world's most pioneering companies in technology, from Silicon Valley giants to burgeoning startups. This innovation doesn't just contribute to the economy, it drives it, pushing the boundaries of what's possible and creating whole new sectors and jobs. Next, we turn to the strong higher education system. The United States boasts a multitude of world-class universities and research institutions. These bastions of knowledge not only foster a highly skilled workforce, but also generate groundbreaking research and development. This intellectual capital is a key ingredient in the secret sauce of the US economy. And let's not forget about the abundant natural resources. From fertile farmlands to rich mineral deposits and energy resources, the United States is endowed with a wealth of natural resources. These resources not only sustain various industries, but also provide the country with a degree of self-sufficiency. The robustness of the U.S. financial markets is yet another pillar of strength. Wall Street is the world's financial hub, with the largest and most liquid financial markets. It attracts investors from all over the globe, funneling capital into businesses and fostering economic growth. Finally, the U.S. economy benefits from a diverse, dynamic, and flexible labor market. It's a melting pot of talents from different walks of life, cultures, and countries. This diversity fuels creativity, innovation, and resilience, making the U.S. economy adaptable to change and ready to seize new opportunities. Each of these strengths plays a vital role in the overall health and vigor of the U.S. economy. They're the gears that keep the economic machine humming, driving growth, prosperity, and global economic leadership. However, like any other economy, the U.S. economy also faces certain challenges. But that's a topic for our next scene. Stay tuned. What are the major problems that the U.S. economy is currently grappling with, and what are the proposed solutions? First, let's talk about income inequality. The gap between the rich and the poor has been expanding for decades. This doesn't just affect individuals, it impacts the entire economy, slowing economic growth and creating instability. The solution? Tax reform. A progressive tax system where the wealthy pay a higher percentage of their income in taxes could help bridge this gap. Also, investing in education and job training can provide more opportunities for lower-income individuals to increase their earning potential. Next on the list is the aging infrastructure. Roads, bridges, airports, and electrical grids across the nation are deteriorating. This not only poses safety risks, but also impedes economic growth. But there's a solution to this too: increased infrastructure spending. By investing in infrastructure, we not only create jobs in the short term, but also lay the groundwork for long-term economic growth. High healthcare costs are another major issue. The U.S. spends significantly more on healthcare per person than other developed countries, yet health outcomes are not significantly better. The solution? Healthcare reform. This could involve a variety of strategies like negotiating lower drug prices, implementing cost-effective care practices, or even moving toward a single-payer system. Lastly, there's the national debt. It's been growing at an alarming rate, and if not addressed, it could lead to a financial crisis. The solution? Fiscal responsibility. This means making tough choices about spending and revenue. It could involve cutting unnecessary spending, increasing taxes, or a combination of both. These problems are complex and intertwined, and solutions won't come easily. But with thoughtful policy and a commitment to economic equality and sustainability, it's possible to address these issues and build a stronger, more resilient economy. While these domestic issues are important, we must not forget the external threats that the U.S. economy faces. What are the geostrategic threats that pose a risk to the U.S. economy? Let's delve into this complex web of global interdependencies and challenges. Firstly, we have trade wars. These economic conflicts, marked by imposing tariffs or quota restrictions, can disrupt the smooth flow of goods and services. They can escalate into full-blown economic battles, causing significant damage to all economies involved. The U.S., being a major player in the global trading system, is especially vulnerable to these disputes. Next, let's talk about geopolitical tensions. These tensions, often arising from disputes over territory, resources, or ideologies, can create economic uncertainty. They can disrupt international trade, cause fluctuations in energy prices, and even lead to military conflicts. As a major global power, the U.S. is inevitably involved in many of these tensions, which in turn can impact its economic stability. Thirdly, we cannot ignore the threat of cyber attacks. In this digital age, the economy is increasingly dependent on secure and reliable information systems. Attacks on these systems can disrupt business operations, compromise sensitive data, and erode consumer trust. The U.S., with its advanced digital infrastructure, is a prime target for such attacks. Lastly, there's the looming threat of climate change. The increasing frequency and severity of extreme weather events can cause significant damage to infrastructure, disrupt supply chains, and impact agricultural productivity. As one of the world's largest economies, the U.S. has a lot at stake in the fight against climate change. So how does the U.S. navigate these threats? The answer lies in a combination of diplomacy, international cooperation, and technological innovation. Diplomacy can help resolve trade disputes and diffuse geopolitical tensions. International cooperation is crucial in combating cyber threats and addressing climate change. And technological innovation can provide solutions to many of these challenges, from improving cybersecurity to developing green technologies. The U.S. economy, with its strengths and challenges, continues to be a major player in the global economic landscape. With a proactive approach and a commitment to global cooperation, the U.S. can navigate these geostrategic threats and continue to drive economic growth.